Okay, we are here with Brittany Castonguay. Did I say that
Hey,
right?
you did.
And Brittany is a PhD doctor who has the discipline of a veteran, the expertise of a PhD, and the grit of an entrepreneur. And she develops authentic and genuine leaders and so much more. Oh my goodness. If you look at everything Brittany has done in the world to help others and veterans and employers, it's just amazing. So, Brittany, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. Tell us a little more about yourself and what you're doing.
Oh, thank you, Linda. You make me sound more amazing than what I am because it takes a support team to get you from one place to the other, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
so I am actually originally from Ruskin, Florida. So I am a Florida native.
Okay.
Um, I lived in Florida for like the first 12 years of my life, lived my second half of my childhood, my teen years in North Carolina. I graduated high school 18, also 6 months pregnant. Married
Wow.
my high school sweetheart the next day. And then by the time I was 23, I had a master's degree and two kids. So
Wow.
yeah,
Amazing.
my story it has been on fast pace for a long time, but happy to be here. I joined the military. I spent 9 years on active duty as a human resources officer. I
Wow.
was
When did you do that?
I know, right? From 2016 to 25, I was medically retired last July.
And how old were your kids when you went in?
I had three kids at the time, and so the baby was just under two.
Wow. Amazing. Wow. Did you get deployed at all?
Unfortunately, I was not deployed. Definitely did some TDYs and stuff, but didn't have the opportunity. We were
Okay.
starting to move out of Afghanistan at that point.
Well, it might have been one of those, I don't call them God things, that you got to be home with your kids at
Yes.
that point, because that's really hard, I know, for families. But thank you so much for your service, Brittany. What a great privilege it is to be interviewing you and have you on our veteran podcast. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Linda. I'm happy to be here.
Well, so go on with your story.
Yeah, so I knew I was not going to be in the military for 20 years. Unfortunately, I had autoimmunes that popped up. So I
Oh,
launched my business at SHRI. It stands for Strategic Human Resources and Innovation. So we believe, much like kind of what you said earlier, that people are the epicenter of the organization, and that if we're not taking care of them, we're not focused on creating a healthy culture, that you're not going to sustain long-term profitability and success in your business.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. I worked for the job center for 15 years and could not get that through the heads of employers. They had to look at the mental health and the life balance of their employees. So thank you for doing that. That's amazing. Great.
Yeah. It makes it easy because it's a passion of mine, right?
Yes.
When you do something you love, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like work. That's how I always would counsel people that it doesn't feel if your job if you hate getting up and going to work, then it's probably not the thing you're called to do because work should be something that you do whether you get paid or not just because it's a passion. I mean, that's my belief, but it's better to get paid, right?
It is better when you get paid.
So tell us more about your business.
Yes, I'm so excited about where SHRI is going in 26. So my leadership book debuts next month.
Oh, wow, what's the name of it?
It's a little long, but it's called Monomyth, The Leader's Journey to Authenticity, Vulnerability, and Leading with Heart.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. Oh, I'm so excited for that to come out. And so where will we be able to find that? I'm sure you'll have that on your website, which we will go over in a bit, but is that going to be on Amazon as well?
Yes, it will be on Amazon. It'll be available in hardback, paperback, and Kindle version. We'll be starting
Super.
all the pre-release posts and stuff probably within the next week and a half. So
Okay.
definitely make sure you follow me on my social media, and of course, it'll be on my website.
Okay, I'm putting the website out now, so you got a chance to take a look at that and write that down so you can follow that book and probably get signed up to get a copy of it. So awesome, great job. Okay, well, go on. That's awesome.
Yeah, the book is think of the book as a leadership guide and not as an academic formula for being an effective leader. I combine I combine one, like my own personal journey and some academic research in there, and I build out a framework for it. But really, what the book is doing is it's walking you through what it means to go on that monomyth, that hero's journey of what it means to become a leader. So you leave your monomyth, right? You have your call to action, and I use a lot of like very well-known heroes throughout my book, like when Hagrid shows up for Harry Potter and it's like, Harry, you're a wizard. He's like, you got the wrong kid. He's like, I'm not a wizard. I'm a normal kid living under the stairs. Well, that's our call to action. That's our departure. And so
Okay.
for me, mine was graduating high school pregnant. I didn't want to be a mom. I didn't want to be married or to do any of those things. And I was in a very unfortunate situation that I had put myself in. Right. And so instead of becoming one of my circumstances, I decided to go against that and to still accomplish everything I wanted in my life. And that tenacity is what created my monomyth. It wasn't something I wanted. It wasn't something I asked for, but it was what was handed to me and what I did with it. And that's where
Awesome.
the initiation takes place. That's where you see the heroes go along their journey where we can't do this. They're almost dead at some points. They just want to give up and go home. And then they have their support team there with them, right? Frodo can't get the ring without Samwise. That's someone that's sitting at his table. And so we talk about looking at your community and who you have sitting at your table and how they're getting you through that. And that's why I said at the beginning, like it takes a community. I'm not here today because I woke up one day and was like, I'm 18, I'm going to have a baby. No, I'm here because people saw something in me that I needed to see in myself.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, and that kind of contradicts what you said when I introduced you that, oh, you're not really as great as I made you out to be. Well, you need to accept the fact that yes, you are. You've been created for this purpose, and you're doing an amazing job to overcome and be transformed. Uh, literally by the renewing of your mind. I that's one of my sayings. There's a Bible verse, and I just love that because we have to start to think differently about ourselves. We are in a society where we tend to always look for the negative and not the positive. So that's what you do with employers in your life. It sounds like that's what your book is going to do, is to take the negative and turn it into a positive and help people get out of what I call the muddy rut neural pathway, where we are stuck in that negativity of guilt and shame and all those things, and you have overcome that. So good job. Can you talk about that word? What is it? I've never heard that word. What's it called?
Monomyth. Yeah,
Monomus. What
monomyth.
is that?
It literally just means the hero's journey.
The hero's journey. Where did that come
Mhm.
from, I wonder?
I'm not sure if it was first coined by Campbell, but Campbell is the one who wrote A Thousand Faces. And so he's the one, I think it was in like the 40s. And there's some of my research in the book about him. He's the one who defined the hero's journey and what it means to go on your departure, your initiation, and your return. And if you look at movies, or if you look at, like our books and our sitcoms, all of our favorite characters, like they all follow this tale, but they all return transformed and changed,
Yes,
not the way that they set off.
exactly.
And that's
Ex-
where monomyth comes from. It's a fun little coin term that
I
I
love
think
it.
I think it has a lot of implications.
It's awesome. And you think of so often we feel like failures. I mean, I've been doing this for 13 years after I quit my corporate job to start my business, and I am still nowhere near where I thought I would be, but I had this assumption of where I should be. as opposed to the journey. And it's the journey that gets us there. And I forget that this is part of the journey. And yeah, I'm not getting paid to do this podcast, but it's the journey and it's the service. And that's what we need to do. And the more we serve, the more things just come around to us. So it's very exciting. So again, thank you. That is awesome. So this book is going to come out. What are you hoping for in getting this book out, and where do you want to go in your business?
So I always say that if you touch one person's life, you have a job accomplished.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
So ideally, one, I would love for people to pick up this book and just say, I resonate with this. I may not have lived this exact story, but I have my own monomyth. And so part of coming back from the return and towards the end of the book and part 4, we actually walk through how to create and write out your own monomyth. And so
Wow.
the goal is for the reader to walk away transformed and enlightened. But ultimately to also be able to, speak in events about this and to go into corporate environments and to do workshop trainings so that I can help those, especially like those mid-tier leaders who feel stuck, or even the executives who just feel like they've reached the pinnacle and now they're just kind of burnt out and what to do next, but they might still have a lot of energy.
Right.
Someone who actually read my book, who he said he's middle-aged. I don't think he is, but he is retired from his first job as in law enforcement. And he said, you have so much more to give. And this book is just a reminder that even though you think your one chapter is done, your story's not over. You have more chapters to write. And that's the point, is that you get to keep deciding how you're going to write your future chapters.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so true. And I always love the story of Dr. Seuss, who started writing these books and submitted 29 times and was rejected actually before he actually got published. And if he would have quit, after the first rejection, second rejection, third rejection, I mean, it would have changed the world. So, yeah, that's true. His hero's journey kind of didn't go as he probably had hoped it would go, right?
Yeah, but I love what you said, because we see this not only in other like people who have written books, but I've also served with people who have had that issue. Like I came in as an officer in the Air Force, and one of my friends that I commissioned with, he was enlisted before and he applied 10 times before he was picked up for commission, and he never gave up. That's
Wow.
insane. But that's what that means when you know that you have goodness and you have a mission and the world needs to know it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And talk a little bit, because this podcast is, and I might put you on two different ones because I've got a couple different, and you would fit no matter which one I've got. But the veteran podcast that I have is Service, Scars, and Second Chances. And I mean, it's not always easy, a woman being in the military. And what observation have you had as far as your colleagues that have served? And what are some of the challenges that they have coming out, getting into the workplace, starting businesses? Have you seen anything?
Yeah, one of my dear friends that I served with on active duty, she's also out, and she went and got her master's degree, and she just got a job offer for a GS7 position, which is,
Wow.
if you're not familiar, for your readers and listeners, GS7 is non-supervisory, pretty low in the food chain, making maybe 40, 50 grand a year. And she has a master's degree in organizational leadership.
Wow.
She retired from the military as a senior NCO in E7. So there's definitely challenges within that transition, right? Because we know that there's so much more for us out there, but sometimes we feel like we have to take what is offered to us in the moment, and which is not right or wrong, right? We have livings, we have things that we're responsible for. It's more the point that as women, we often feel that we have to settle and
Right.
to be second.
Right.
And that should never, ever be the case for us.
Absolutely. The other thing that has been a wake-up call for me, because I'm not a veteran. I had 3 brothers who served, and I had started recovery homes for homeless veterans and met a lot of women that came into our program that had been homeless, that had served for years. But the shocking part of it for me was the huge number of women who came out with what they now have defined as MST, military sexual trauma. And of course, many of those women had trauma before they even went in. Some of them who escaped trauma in the family or issues, like Christine, who was my first interviewee. Uh, so they had a compound issue going on, and then coming out in largely a man's world where a lot of managers, supervisors, business owners are men, and a lot of the service providers in the VA are men. There was a real issue with that for the women that I've talked with. And, how do you overcome that? I do corporate training also for businesses and helping them to identify people who may have PTSD in the workplace and mental health and substance abuse issues. Is that anything that is part of your strategic HR training? Is some of those issues and working with veterans or other people with those issues?
Yeah, in my leadership style, I always tell people it's leadership that has a backbone with a heartbeat, right? You always have to hold people accountable. We all have roles and expectations that we have to meet.
Right.
You cannot forget about the people there.
Right.
Something that came out of when I was working with Special Operations Forces, SOF, there's the SOF first truth. People are more important than hardware. Beyond anything else, and there's 4 soft truths, they prioritize people first. You cannot execute a mission without people. And when you are in a leadership position, you always have to think about people. How are you taking care of them? Yes, you can still hold them accountable. You have to be empathetic to them and their situation and say, maybe we prioritize the person here to give them the resources to get the help they need.
Right.
It was actually a story in my book where I had an airman that I almost lost to suicide because his wife's postpartum depression was that horrible.
Oh.
And so we talk about it in the book that we decided at that time to prioritize him and his family. And we kind of talk about the resources and what we did to come around him and support both of them. And now, almost a decade later, they're thriving and they're doing well. And he has gone on to do, extraordinary things. But if we were not focused on the person, I might have lost an airman. And that's a non-negotiable for me.
Right. Right. Absolutely. That pull yourself up by the bootstraps and that whole mentality doesn't work. I know that the military sometimes has somewhat of that attitude, and so do many businesses. That irreplaceable thing. But for me, I truly believe that if we were to look at every person as an irreplaceable asset to our business or to the world, it would change things. It would improve self-esteem, and it absolutely has proven in the workplace to increase productivity and people showing up more if they feel like they're of value. So that's a big part of working with the human resources things that I obviously you have done. So that's fantastic that you're doing that kind of work. So the long range goal then for 2026 is what?
Oh, I have them.
Okay.
If you're not strategizing, right, what are you doing? So ideally, I would love to have 6 paid speaking events. I have 1 booked already. I would love to book 5 of my monomyth workshops with the book coming out. And honestly, I really want to be able to expand and grow the business and bring on a full-time employee. That's if I
Wow.
really have to prioritize what is more important to me, is having someone to grow my business with, because I do believe in people first.
Awesome. Awesome. And what would that person look like? Are you talking like a VA person or a coworker or somebody that does similar things or what?
I'm looking more for my right hand, because I'm what we call like an integrator, right? Like I see all the fine details, and I have some visionary in me, but probably not as much as I would like. And so I'm looking for someone that's a little bit more visionary that
Okay.
can also keep me left and right, because I'll go squirrel mode and be on another venture before we know it.
I just was listening to a podcast on that this morning because I have ADHD and the squirrel thing is real, and this whole helping veterans was a squirrel thing. My main focus that I have is women over 50 who struggle with alcohol, but the veteran opportunity came up to do a retreat for women veterans. I jumped on it and now it's morphed into a whole thing with a support group on Sunday nights, this podcast, and doing a lot more for veterans. So, I've even had to look at that squirrel thing as in the moment. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I am here today to help Brittany market her business, and there'll be good that'll come out of this. I know, for you and me, and I'm on this earth to help people as well. So, again, if one person is helped by this interview that can find hope in their life, in their business, and their journey, then we did what we were supposed to do by showing up today, Brittany.
That's what
So,
I want to talk about. Woo!
yeah,
That's
that's
right.
awesome. Um, Anything else? Now, I forget to as I'm flipping all of these things, I forget, what your social media things are. I forget that there are people that are going to be listening on our audio that can't see this. So let me go over the main one that you need to go to where you'll be able to find all Brittany's social media links is her website, strategic HR innovations.com. I'm gonna spell it STRATEGIC, strategic HR, that's for human resources, innovations, INNOVATIONS.com. And I will put that in the notes so you can always go down, just click on it, go to the notes. Sometimes YouTube doesn't click, but you can at least copy and paste, or you can do like I did and go ahead and just type her name in. And I keep spelling it wrong, so let me spell it correctly. Brittany, Brittany Castonguay, CAS, like cast on something. That's how I remembered. CASTONGUAY. And she is a PhD and does an amazing work. So please support Brittany in her mission in life. You will not be sorry. If you are somebody who maybe feels like you might be a good partner, hey, contact her. See what? This is how things happen. You just never know who you're going to connect with at what time. And I kind of think that, I do have a spiritual foundation. I do think there is a bigger force out there who I call God that is puts us together for a purpose and a reason, and it benefits everybody. So, Brittany, what else? Anything else you wanted to mention today before we close?
I think the biggest thing that I would like to say is a nonprofit that's close and dear to my heart. It's called Action Zone.
Okay.
So they are a local in Tampa, Florida, And they help first responders, veterans, and then dependents, so spouses as well, with business ideas. And when I knew I was coming out of the military, I took their course, and it really helped me structure and learn a lot of business foundation skills. And I've since gone, and I'm an alumni with them. I volunteer with them all the time. I'm an ambassador, and I've gone through another one of their programs to help scale my business. So if you are a veteran or a first responder with a business idea, check out Action Zone.
Action Zone, is this for men and women or just women?
Yep, both. No, both. Yep.
Both. Okay. And do you need to be a veteran? Did you say this is for veterans?
It's for veterans, their spouses and kids, or first responders.
Okay, first responders. And what does that mean? Is that firefighters, police officers, or emergency medical? What?
Yes. Like those types.
All those. Okay.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, that is fantastic. Actionzone.com. Is that what it is, or .org?
It's actionzonetampa.org.
Okay, Action Zone Tampa. So, well, Brittany, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited about putting this out, which I will be publishing this, right away within the next day or two, and be looking forward to having that book come out. So excited. Please go to Brittany's website, Strategic HR Innovations, and you can click on that book and you'll be able to get that. So, in whatever format you want, and pass it on. It'll be helpful to anybody that you give it to. So, thank you again, Brittany, for your service in the military, your service now, and your service in the future. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Bye.
Bye bye.